Welcome to another K-Series podcast, and today we've got Aneta Siedlecka. Aneta's been working with us at Kollosche now for 5 years and 2 months, and has been a real integral part of our team. And Aneta, give us a bit of a background on what your role is and how you support the Kollosche team.
Hi, Michael. I just want to say that it is always so good to sit with you and had a chance to talk and spend some time with you. So as you said, I've been at Kollosche for 5 years and 2 months, and I'm a holistic transformational coach. And it is very unique and unusual role. I remember when we had our first conversation in the office, I think it was between you, me, and Renee, and you were looking for somebody, someone that will support your team, someone that will look after your team mentally, will help them with any issues, any problems, whatever they're struggling physically, mentally, emotionally, they will have someone that they can go and talk to.
Personally and
in the business, yeah. Personally and in the business. So that's my role. So I've been, as I said, helping them holistically. Mm-hmm. So holistically means with their mindset, with their emotional self, and with whatever is going on in their personal life, in the business, with whatever they're struggling on a physical level, how they look after their health, mental, physical, emotional, whatever is going on in their lives, they have this opportunity in the safe space to come to me, spend some time with me, and we can unpack that. We can dive deeper and depending where they are, or I will support them, inspire them, motivate them, or give them a kick at the bum, like you say.
Yeah, they need a kick in the ass or a cuddle. So depends what they need at the time. And so I think looking at that role from the outset, what we wanted to achieve was a lot of salespeople and a lot of people in general within the organisation have limiting beliefs, certain blockages. Sometimes it's things that have happened in their relationships. Sometimes it's things that's happened to them in their childhood, and things that just generally hold them back because of the way they've been programmed. So having that outlet for them to come into a safe space and talk with you about that, and then encourage them to find a way through it and navigate that with them. Obviously, we've had issues with bereavement leave where people have lost loved ones, where there's been couples counselling required between partners, family members, diffusing any conflict in the office and helping people deal with that. So just generally helping them with their well-being, growth, and making it a more harmonious workplace. But I think the one thing we sat down in the very start and identified was that if your home and personal life is on point, if your health is on point, your business will follow. So if you can bring the disciplines of home and your personal life into your business, then ultimately that will show up and your results will improve.
100%. 100%, I agree with that. And you can see how that, in the last 5 years, how that ripple through the business, because people are doing so well. They've grown so much, they transformed so much, the level of communication, dealing with a conflict, satisfaction in their roles, finding voice, how to, set the boundaries, how to step out from those limiting beliefs and the boxes that they've put themselves before in previous roles, in previous offices. They thriving at Kollosche, you know what I mean?
So how does it differ from a session with a shrink for someone who's listening to this? What are the differences in the way that you're working with the team and sometimes their partners and their family and their kids and any member of their network to help support them? How does that differ from a normal psychology session that you might go to see a psychiatrist?
So let's start from this. Everyone is unique and everyone will need different tools, different strategies. But my work is about helping you to understand yourself. So it's more about self-inquiry. How are you creating your reality? What is going on inside your mind? So we're going backwards and inwards and figure out what are beliefs, what are the stories, what are the mental limitation you have created for yourself and the reality that you exist in? What are the emotional vortex that you exist in? For example, are you existing in fear, limitation, self-doubt, being super critical on yourself, never fully showing up, or are you living from the frequency of abundance and seeing greatness that is possible, and shifting the beliefs and shifting the emotional self will allow you to create different reality. So in the session, the first step is to do that self-inquiry, meeting yourself where you are and being able and being strong enough to see your own limitation and then make the choice. Okay, if I have limitation around my self-worth, around money, around health, my fitness, how I'm perceiving myself or what I deserve, I'm willing to change that. And then we create strategies moving forward. What we have to do is reprogramming, repatterning neural pathways in the brain so you create new beliefs? Or is it that you have to connect more to your physical body and give yourself that self-discipline? Because real estate is not that complicated. It's hard. It's hard. It takes amazing human being to be a real estate agent because you're always on. Michael, tell me the day that you're not on.
Yeah, look, real estate's a lifestyle, and I think for most people that are in the game, they understand that, and to do it well, you need to be on most of the time. But what we also need to do is learn how to decompress, how to shut down, how to step away when we need to, so that you can actually get the most out of the time that you're there. I think probably looking at some of the test cases and people that have come to see you over the years, some people have come in and realised after doing a deep dive that they're in the wrong career and that they're doing this for the wrong reasons, and as a result they've made conscious decisions that they should move on and go elsewhere and follow their passions. And from our perspective, we're extremely happy that they've made those choices, because there's no position for us to say, hey, we want to hold these people here if they're not enjoying it and they can't realise their full potential, and they're doing it just because of a monetary goal. So, and then on the flip side, we've seen other people that have come in that you've worked with, and one in particular that comes to mind that wanted to join our firm. He had been in real estate for about 12 to 15 years. His highest earnings in real estate was about 300 to 350,000 GCI. After coming in for an interview, he'd been running his own business. I organised for him to meet with you. I think you spent 4 months working with this particular individual before we actually allowed him to start in the business. And you had to help him work through a whole heap of stuff that was causing him to self-sabotage. He had a lot of potential, but there was things that just kept coming up, and a lot of that was from his childhood. So he'd do really well, and then all of a sudden he'd start to do something that would destroy what he was building, and just with acts of stupidity and doing things that
100%.
we're not going to assist him or support him to get where he needed to. And so you worked with him for 4 months, and then I do recall he came into the business and embraced it, and you told him he could start when you felt he was ready, and he felt he earned that position. And within his first 18 months, he did 2.7 million in fees. So a massive turnaround. So it just highlights that a lot of it is energy, psychology, mindset, and being able to let go of things and limiting beliefs, and also 100%. Understanding that you do deserve to be successful 100%. And you do deserve to have what you want.
100%.
So we probably know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
so
I do.
We don't need to mention any names, but we've seen a number of stories like that. And
in our office, we had so many people that they exceed, and it's not that they need to be in their roles for 2 years to see progression and leveling up in the business. No, we're like shifting those timelines that because they work on their minds, because they're looking after their physical body. Our team is very fit, Michael. Most of our team is doing some kind of activities. It's a breath work, it's a cold plunges, it's marathon running, cycling, going to the gym. Most of people, they're looking after their physical body, the mental self. They educate themselves. They read books. So many of our team members, they exchange books, podcasts, and that growth is just collective. Yeah. So what I was saying before is that, we can see how people just shifting the timelines and they're growing way more faster than they would do in other businesses, because there's this environment, this culture of supporting each other. It is challenging, yes, it's competitive, but it's nice. Like, you walking through the office right now, I walk into the office and it's buzzing. It's buzzing because you can feel how everyone is beautifully chasing, but it's nice chase. It's not the toxic chase. It's like, okay, what's new? Yeah, the bell is making noise, belling. Bell is belling, Michael.
Ringing. Yeah.
Thank you. The bell is ringing.
Every time they're doing a deal.
Yeah, every time. But it just the energy, and it's this. I call it this collective consciousness. If I grow, when I become better, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is, I raise the vibration of the whole team. My attitude, how I show up and present myself in the office, it changes. It makes huge difference when one person walks to the office and they off. And you might think that you can hide that, yes? You cannot hide it. Energy, the attitude speaks so loudly. So, like you, Michael, you walk through the office and every day, how many people we have in the office? 130 people.
134.
134. Sorry. 134.
Today.
Beautiful. And I see you every time I'm in the office. You go and you say hello to everyone.
Yeah, every single person before I start the day.
Every single person.
Yeah. And I think that's critical. And but it's also about helping. Like to me, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Mm-hmm. So it's identifying who's having challenges and how we can help and support those, and get those that are doing well to lift the other ones and carry them with them, because at times everyone is down and everyone has mental challenges and goes through tough times. And it's how do you then get the team to understand that we've got to carry everyone along with us, rather than having, like most businesses, individual silos where they don't communicate, they don't work together, and basically there's no levels of trust. You can't even have a conversation in front of them on the phone because you're concerned that they'll sabotage a transaction or cut the legs out from under you, or gossip about something that will impact it. Whereas we've created that, the competitive environment, but it's based on collaboration, and when everyone succeeds and they clap at each other's success, it's obviously it's a culture that we're protecting.
They come to each other's auctions, open homes, they support each other. And as you said before, beautifully, quite often we think that competition is me going against you, me versus you. But then my energy, instead of all my energy focusing on my greatness and performing and serving my clients and supporting my team, goes to me going against somebody else, which just defeats the purpose.
Yeah, and now even seeing a lot of the senior agents stepping up now, running coaching sessions with all the juniors, and for no benefit whatsoever other than to help them lift the minimum standard in the brand up, and then support them and doing joint listings and helping them on process and spending that time. So, it's evolved into what we originally set it out to be, and I think your role in that has been is quite critical. And so I think the other thing that would probably be nice to explain to the listeners is what else does your role entail? What do you do? What are some of the stuff that you do with the team outside of the basic counselling and therapy sessions? There's a lot of other things that you do. I see a lot of the girls lined up for the Kundalini sessions, and but talk us through some of the different things that you do with them based on your qualifications.
So, there will be few things that I want to address here. One will be the fact that
we've got a G-rated audience.
Okay, but
as well,
I'm just thinking. So Michael, it is, and I probably don't tell you that enough and don't share that with you enough. When we have somebody new starting in the office and they have a first session with me, and yes, there is a little bit therapy, there's a little bit coaching, and there's lots of intuitive work that it comes. Intuitive means that I can tune in to somebody, understand them on a deeper level. How that works, it just works. But you've never questioned that. You've always had this beautiful, safe space for me to allow my weirdness to show up, and I think that I'm very grateful for that. But everyone that comes for the first session, they always leave saying, they leave in tears, by the way.
Not all of them. So some come out high-fiving, the other ones have a box of tissues. But yeah.
But that's good tears because it's like shifting it. But they say, wow, it is so amazing that I have access to something like that in the office. And it is so important to have that that support in the office, that they really are grateful and appreciate that. And going back to your questions, so as well, I sometimes have private session with clients, so I see team members at my own place, and that's more for deeper sort of spiritual on the soul level, realignment of energy, of kundalini, of de-armoring, because I'm a deep believer that our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs, they can be sometimes stored. They are stored in our physical body, in our nervous system, in our energy body. So it is wonderful that on a cognitive level, we understand our limitation and we want to shift that. And when I have my private sessions at home, energetically, we shift that. We regulate the nervous system because the nervous system is what sometimes holds us back from fully showing up because we might be in shut down nervous system, freeze, or just numbness. So
too much fight or flight sometimes,
100%.
and anxiety, and you can't slow down to think. It's the same reason
100%.
why a lot of people focus on meditation, because it allows them to actually clear the mind, reset, defrag everything, and then think a lot clearer and make, respond rather than reacting to situations.
And when we note in the fight and flight, we are living our life more from a space of a heart, which is love, but it's not the fluff love. It's more like everything is possible. I'm unstoppable. I can achieve anything that I want. There are no limitations on me. I don't self-doubt myself. There is a plenty of abundance of everything. And when I'm saying abundance of success, money, clients, there's a plenty of clients that are just waiting for me to meet them. Yep. But when I'm in my head there is a fear. There is not enoughness. There is my clients versus your clients, me against you. And that's just very limited perspective.
So you've also spent a lot of time helping a lot of team members, teenagers and kids, and helping
because
them
you send them to me. Michael goes through the town and I'm like, okay, you know what? You need Aneta.
So ultimately, some of the troubled teenagers that are having challenges communicating with their parents, that might have their own issues that they don't want to talk to others about. So I notice you've spent a lot of time working with that. Healthy home, healthy relationships obviously make a much better personal and working environment. So I notice you've done a lot of that of late.
Yes, I have, because you're sending me lots of young potential, which I'm very grateful for.
Yep.
But yes, it's, what to say to that? The environment that we have at home is very important. How we communicate with our loved ones, or how safe we can feel in family. It's very important for our success. Having that stable base at home really allows us to perform to our best at work, because we don't have to worry about our partners, kids, or anything that is going on at home. We can fully show up and focus on the success that we want to create, that on our potential, our greatness. But let me ask you a few questions, Michael.
Shoot.
So what was the main dominator, I can't say the word, for getting somebody like me in-house for your team?
Look, I think for me it's quite easy. I understand that in a business you want to create high performance athletes, and in order to be high performance in any capacity, you actually need to have a well-rounded, balanced life. You need to try and deal with and remove a lot of the toxic issues that you're having outside of work. Some people have trouble, as we said before, communicating, clearer goals. I know you do a lot of goal setting with people, actually helping them uncover what they really want, what it is that's going to make them happy, where they want to be, and helping them get a nice balance in life rather than letting their work run them. They actually get to run their work. And so that was probably quite critical to me. Our version of Wendy Rhodes, for anyone that's had the ability to watch Billions. But it was to help those guys that are not achieving their full potential, the guys and girls, I should say, because of their own limiting beliefs. We've taken a lot of people out of other agencies and other businesses that have been sort of lower to mid-tier performers, and then shown them how to 3x, 5x, 7x, and sometimes 10x their personal best within a very short space of time, just by changing their mindset, removing some of the limiting beliefs, getting their health and fitness right, because that in turn actually helps with discipline around diet, training, exercise, not spending their weekends out drinking to excess like other agencies can do. So it's why we now have this really high performance team, and they all keep each other accountable. They know when to go and have fun and let their hair down once a quarter or whatever, but they're focused on what it is that's going to give them and their family a better life, but also having the balance to make sure they're getting enough time off, and that then shows up in the way that they support their clients and the experience that they create, and the passion and drive that they have in order to make us the leading prestige agency on the Gold Coast, which is our mantra and our motto, is to make sure that in everything we do we reflect that, from our transparency, integrity, experience. Every single thing we do needs to embody that. And we've always said that it's a challenging industry because there is a low barrier to entry, and as a result of that, you get a lot of people in this business or in this industry that are just not conducive to creating a good reputation for real estate agents in general. And so our goal is to try and lead from the front and turn this into a business of professionals. But we also want to make sure that those people are happy at home, and that their health is the best that it can be, and they live a really long, happy life, and we all get along together, and we have a great environment, and there's no hallway sex where you're walking down the hallway screaming in your head abuse to people because F you, because you don't like working in that environment with people, which you see in most other organisations. And I get calls from a lot of people from other businesses, and they're like, mate, none of us work together. I can't have a conversation without the person next to me listening in and trying to figure out how they can manipulate it. And they don't run open database. They have no level of trust. They don't want to support each other at auctions. And all of those things go against what we stand for. We've built an environment where everyone works together. How can we help you? Roll your sleeves up. And there's so many people, even on the weekends, where the girls will turn up, even though they're not they're salaried staff. They'll turn up to help out, to make sure that the team get the results that they want, and that also then comes back into the remuneration structures and how you share that, and making sure that everyone's incentivized, and bonus packages for every member of the team, so you've got your goals are aligned and you're all pushing in the right direction. So it's that's probably been a really big focus, long-winded answer, but on why we've brought someone like yourself into the business, and why you've been so valuable. And even then, there's probably 70% of the team that would use your resources regularly and check in, and then there's 30% there that need a lot of encouragement. And typically, the 30% that need the encouragement are the ones that probably need it the most. And that's the same with everything.
Such as life, yes?
But it's having the courage to start. having the courage to actually identify it and take 100% ownership over every single thing that happens in your life. And there's some of the conversations that you have with them in private is around, okay, well, these things that are happening to you, a large portion of them are as a direct result of you, because for every action there's a reaction.
How you creating it,
the things that you aren't doing are sometimes affecting it, and as much as the things that you are doing, or the lack of conversations, and you're letting people respond and treat you in a manner because if you're not having a conversation about it is deemed acceptance. So so many things that you try and help them to improve their relationships at home and their relationships in the office, their relationships with the clients.
And with themselves, because it's all connected. The relationship they have with themselves is reflection of the relationship they have with at home and with the clients and at work. It's all connected. And I love what you just said. Yes, the culture, it didn't just happen like that, yes? We have a lot conversations. You know, if something shows up that it's not aligned with our values, we directly go to the person and we address that. And I think that's that's something that has helped to create the environment that we have.
Yeah,
That we straight away address something.
And where possible, we'll try and help those people and see if we can help realign them and help them become better. And in some instances, the people have passed the point of no return, and we have to make those decisions that they're not right for the business and not right for the overall culture. As they say, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. And there has been instances where we've had people that are relatively top performers that we've had to let go for the greater good of the business because they've done things that are immoral or unethical or treated other people in the business in a manner that does not align with our ethics and morals. And we've spoken to them and given them a number of chances, and we've tried to help and work with them. But in the end, they have dug their own grave, and we've had to cut them loose for the benefit of everyone so that everyone else in the business understands how much we will protect that and how important it is, because for the amount of time you spend in this working environment, you want to enjoy it.
Yes.
You don't want to come to work in feeling threatened or disgruntled or frustrated or
afraid. Afraid
or,
that if you raise something, if you bring something to consideration, you will get in trouble. We don't want that.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part, is trying to encourage people and give them the confidence to actually speak up so that you can actually take on board that feedback and then do something about it for the greater good. And just because someone's sitting in a management or a leadership level doesn't mean they got it all figured out. In most instances, they got it figured out a hell of a lot less than everyone else. So, it's some of the best ideas come from the other parts of the business, and you need to actually encourage them to bring that forward so you can innovate, so you can get more efficiency, so you can get better results. And without allowing them to do that or throttling them, you can actually starve the growth and obviously make people feel like they don't want to be there, or that they're
not important, or they're
exactly. So, and there are a lot of things that we've had to focus on. And look, from the outside, it may look like we had everything figured out. We don't. It's something that you've got to continually work on, and you just have to, I guess, start with the end in mind and know exactly what you want it to look like, what it is we're trying to protect, what we're trying to cultivate and foster to get the results that we want. And for me, I want to see everyone across the business enjoying their roles.
Yes.
I want to see them being able to flourish. I want to be able to see them step up. I want to be able to see them come up with ideas, have initiative, so that they don't need to be micromanaged or someone standing over the top of them saying yes or no, you can't do this or that. It's how do you encourage them to get the best out of them? You're recruiting people that are really good at certain things, so now let's get them to tell us how to actually become better. So rather than running a hierarchical system where everyone is there's too many blockages. So a large portion of the growth that we've had has been as a result of that, and it's something you've got to continually work on, especially as the business gets bigger. When we had a team of 20, it was easy. 30 was easy. 50 was easy. Even 80 was easy. Once you get 100, 110, 120, 130, 134, there's a lot of complexity. There's a lot of relationships. There's a lot of different personalities, and so it's constantly working through that and making sure that whenever anything comes up, we deal with it straight away and give them the courage to deal with it. And so it's been a bit of a ride, but it's been great fun. And I guess probably a couple other things that people might want to know is what are some of the courses that you've done, some of the things that have helped you in your life to be able to get into the position you are, like you do Kundalini with the team that I'm aware of. You do meditation courses, breath work. You take them to the salt caves. You do ice baths with them. You do some of the different things that you're doing with team members inside and outside of work to help them get the best out of them.
So back to me now, yes?
Yep.
So just like you've mentioned, so we do meditations, meditations in the office as well. I organize private sessions, group sessions for the clients outside the office, workshops for ladies and gentlemen as well. There are salt caves experiences that I run here on the Gold Coast. I have done NLP courses. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I have about 15 years of experience in health and wellness. I was a personal trainer. I was bodybuilding before once in my past life.
I remember.
You remember?
4% body fat.
100%. And you know what?
Muscles on muscles.
And you know what? I've learned so much about discipline, and I've learned so much how powerful is our mind.
Yep.
And that we can achieve everything that we just put our mind into it. So I'm always very grateful for that chapter of my life. So there's many, many things, many tools that I have in my toolbox. I have. I'm not sure if you know, I have a master's degree of marketing management. Do not hire me in that role. I'm happy where I am. So yeah, there's many things that I have done. Goodness me, I have Theta, Reiki, Prana healing courses that I've attended.
Yoga sessions you do with the team.
Yeah, so I do yoga sessions with the team. What else do we do? So many different things. The holistic, anything that is there that is holistic, that it's not only, this corporate reality, but it's giving more to the human.
Yep.
What do you need? How can we support you? How can we help you relax and connect to yourself as well, because it's important as well. So that would be it. Now I have 2 more questions.
Shoot.
This is important because I was sitting. I'm like, I have to ask. Okay, so the first question is, what was that one limiting belief that you have shifted in your life somewhere in the past that made the biggest change in your life?
Probably for me that I always needed someone else to help and support me on my journey rather than actually having the confidence to go it alone. So for the most part, I used to have to rely on having other people there or their opinions. And over time, I just built the confidence to understand that I could do it all, and that I didn't need everyone else's approval and I didn't need their support. I just needed to build the right team around me and ensure that everybody wins. And that was probably the biggest thing. A lot of business owners and businesses, I see they're very focused on what's in it for them rather than trying to put forward a company team philosophy. So in my mind, I try and put myself last, make sure that everyone else is winning, make sure everyone else is having a great experience, do everything I can to lift them up, which has probably just been in my nature most of my life. But in doing that, we've created a really good support network, and seen so many people flourish, and I think it's also trying to make yourself available for them, to sit there, to listen, and to actually do something about it. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of great ideas that go unheard. And if they go unheard, then they eventually lose the passion and they move on, and you lose some really good talent. So they're the areas that I've tried to focus on, and we've got a lot of people that in the business who I think would take a bullet for me just because
they would.
The way that they have been treated, the way they've flourished, the way they've grown, the personal interest we've taken in helping them achieve their personal goals. And I think that's critical to a great business. If you can understand what it is that makes them tick and help them achieve those things, then their loyalty and the effort they put in is remarkable. And on the flip side of it, reading books like Principles from Ray Dalio and some of those, like, people are going to make mistakes. You've got to let them fail forward. And I think the key is, as long as they're not making the same mistakes over and over again, then that's okay. And so every time someone has an issue or they make a mistake within the business, it's okay, well, what did we learn from that? What can we put in place to make sure it doesn't happen again? If the mistakes are occurring because they're not following systems and processes that have actually been set up, that they've actually been trained on, then there's got to be a tolerance level there, but only for a certain amount of time. And it's like, guys, we've actually put these systems in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again, to ensure the customer has a really good experience, to ensure that you don't create a circumstance where a deal can blow up and someone can get sued, or like there's a whole heap of systems and processes that have been designed specifically to allow us to have the best experience for everyone involved. And so that's probably one of the things that really helped drive me and the business forward, and also having the ability to look at what do I want this to look like in 3 or 5 years' time? Who needs to sit in those roles to make it happen? And then empower them to do what they need to do. And I think that's the key. As long as you can have your management and leadership adopt that same philosophy, which isn't always easy, but if you can get them to follow that and say, okay, now with everybody that's sitting within this business that I'm responsible for, how do I empower them to do what they're there to do? I don't want to throttle them. I don't want to have these so many levels or layers of complexity to get approvals on things. I just want to have clearly defined roles and responsibilities and say, hey, this digital component, you own that. So we're happy to have strategy sessions with it, but you're the guru on it. You understand it. We've recruited you for it. We're happy to upskill you. We're happy to spend money on developing you, training you, but come to us with ideas and ways on how to improve. Same goes with sales. Same goes with PM. Same goes with projects. Same goes with our legal and compliance team. And likewise, same goes with our leadership and management team. How do we empower all these people to do things better? Same with accounts. How do we actually get better reporting? How do we get better forecasting? All the way down to concierge, better customer experiences. So you've just got to look at all of those things. And every time something goes wrong and I walk in and I see someone's all upset and they're like, oh my God, Michael's going to lose it at me. And they look like they're going to vomit. And I walk in, I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, well.
And you're like, what's the solution?
And they're like, are you going to tell him? And I'm like, and they tell me, and I'm like, okay, so what did we learn from it?
Yeah, that's what
and
you do.
How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? And then they're like, oh, and then they get on with it, and we put something in place. And the key is also then rolling that out across the entire business. There's no point having an audience of one learning a lesson. How do we then take all of those lessons that have occurred and share them with everyone else? Not to call people out because they've made a mistake, but to say, guys, here's a group lesson that we need to learn. So if we're launching a new project at the moment, well, in my mind, with some of the lessons we've taken from the last couple of years or last few years, we want to protect both developers, but we also want to protect the buyers to create a commercial outcome where everyone wins and the brand isn't affected. So you want to make sure that you've got a sunrise date that gives the developer a period of 12 months to start construction. And if the developer cannot do that within 12 months, they need to tell us up front that they need 18 months or 14 months or whatever, so that anyone going into that transaction has eyes wide open, and that we may be out of the market for that period of time, rather than not having any sunrise date and you sign someone up and they're locked in for 5 years. And then nobody wins when they don't deliver it. So every time some little thing happens within the business, it's unpack that. What are we putting in place? Standard terms and procedures, and we don't allow it to deviate from that. And that goes across every single element.
What are your non-negotiable on a daily basis?
Non-negotiable. I live my life by design. So I need to have my massage every Wednesday without fail. I need to have my osteopath appointment every Friday without fail. That's just preventative and body maintenance to keep me healthy. From Monday to Friday, I get up at 4:30 every morning. I walk from 5 till 6. I then train in the gym from 6 till 7. On a Saturday, I'll get up at 5. I'll train from 5:30 till 6:30. I'll then do a cold plunge, steam, sauna with a number of members of the team. Those things to me are non-negotiable that help set my day and allow me to operate at a peak performance. I have a full-time chef that works for us, so he comes in on a Sunday night and works through till a Friday night, and so he'll turn up every morning at 6:30, makes breakfast, protein shakes, fruit platters, lunches for my son, my wife, and then comes back in the afternoon and he'll do probably at 5 o'clock he'll turn up and he'll prepare dinner, but it's all organic produce, clean, healthy meals. He sources all of it. He does the dishes, takes the rubbish out, does everything else. Those sort of things to me are non-negotiables to allow me to operate at a peak performance. And then I try not to drink too much. I might have a glass of wine a couple of nights a week, 3 nights a week, but not like in my youth where you go out and binge drink and do all those things. If you want to get serious, you've got to have a level of discipline around all of those things.
Thank you. Michael, it has been an absolute pleasure. I always enjoy my time with you, and I think I know you, but then when we can sit down and I'm like, oh, wow, I always learn something new about you, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity, for you and Renata giving me this chance to be part of the business. And I just love everyone, in the business. Last thing that I would like you to maybe talk a little bit about is about our serving our people the ball. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Because I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful cause.
Yeah, so look, a number of years back, probably 3 or 4 years back, we decided to set up a community fund within the office. A percentage of every transaction goes into that fund. My intention was, rather than me just continually donating to some of these projects from the business, how do I get all the team to buy into it and learn and appreciate the value of giving back and what you get from that? So we all contribute a percentage of every deal, raising somewhere in the vicinity of 450, 500,000 into our own fund every year, and then using those funds to amplify the donations to other areas. So Serving Our People is our main sponsor that we contribute to for our annual ball. So last year we raised 830,000 for them for the ball. We got the naming rights. We helped set it up. And then all of those monies go towards them to help homeless, those that have financial issues and troubles and mental health issues and cancer patients and the vulnerable that need deliveries and all those sort of things. So there's a whole cross-section of things that they do there, but it's something that's very close to us. And then we do a lunch for them every year as well, which we raised 380,000 last year at the lunch. So collectively, it was a pretty decent amount that was raised towards them. So I think it was somewhere in the vicinity of about 1.2 million last year.
Amazing.
On top of that, the remaining funds that we have in our community fund go out to all the surf clubs, sporting clubs. We bought some vans for the Gold Coast Hospital for them to be able to deliver terminally ill cancer patients in for treatment that couldn't otherwise transport themselves. 10 Cent Tom. They helped
Yes.
buy him hundreds of bins to
Yes.
help expand his business and his depot to employ people with disabilities, donations to some of the sporting athletes and children that are on a path to success but cannot get any funding to help them with that. There was recently a young mother who was pregnant, had 2 kids. Her husband died a couple of weeks before she was going to give birth, couldn't afford a rental, was sleeping on her mum's couch. Her mum was about to be evicted from where she was, so helped with the help of SOP, the Obedient Foundation and some others, and Tamika Little to find her accommodation for the next 12 months to actually set her up. And they also set up a GoFundMe page, which I think raised another $70,000 to support them. So just all these little things that go towards helping community members. Last year we had another instance where there was a lady who couldn't pay all her medical bills, and her father had beaten her mother to death and poured petrol all the way down the hallway of the house. She woke up in the middle of it. Then he ended up in a wrestle with her, poured petrol all over and set her alight. And she managed to jump out the window and had 3rd-degree burns over most of her body and was unable to actually save her children, unfortunately, and was stuck with all these medical bills while the father, who survived, was put into a mental institution. But things like that. So there's a lot of one-off causes where we like to support those in need. But it's been great because every year we elect a board of 7 people within the business out of the 134. We have a mandate on what meets that criteria. Sometimes there'll be things that'll come in outside of that, and we make decisions based on where we think we can add the most value to those in need. And it's been great, the fulfillment they get out of it, seeing some of the team go down to SOP and serving lunches and dinners for the homeless over the Christmas periods, taking our kids down there to actually give them a dose of reality so they can do it, bringing in some of the other sponsors. Tom Schau, recently we had a homeless guy there who had no teeth. His father had beaten him so severely as a kid and knocked out most of his teeth, and that was a big factor in why he couldn't get any employment. And so we took him down, and Tom's actually completely rebuilt all of his teeth and jaws, which was an $80,000 to $100,000 exercise, which he donated for free. So just those sort of things, to me, they're actually quite selfish because you get so much satisfaction out of helping these people that I think it's more of a selfish act rather than giving. And every time I get to do that and help and you see the difference it makes, for me, the satisfaction I get is quite fulfilling, and that I see that the team gets. So it's interesting. You get a lot more out of helping others than going and buying a $10,000 handbag or a $20,000 handbag, or blowing $1,500 on a lunch that you don't necessarily need to do to impress people that you don't need to impress. So that's been a really good initiative, and we've aligned ourselves with a number of other charities and organisations, and something we're very proud of.
Thank you, Michael. So the SOP is next month. We have 4 more weeks to it. So if you're listening to this podcast or you're listening to this part and you still haven't got your ticket, we would love to have you there. Yeah,
I think we've sold about 850 seats out of 1,000 so far. Our goal this year is to try and raise $1 million at that dinner. So we'll be pushing hard to see if we can do that and make a real difference.
Make a really difference. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for coming on the K-Series.